Have you ever looked at an Amish garden and wondered how it stays so green, so full of life, and produces so much food? While modern gardeners often rely on store-bought fertilizers, expensive tools, and digital gadgets, the Amish do things very differently. They grow food that lasts them all year, and they do it with methods that cost next to nothing. It's not just about growing vegetables. It's about a way of life rooted in respect for nature, family, hard work, and time-tested traditions passed down through generations. Today, we're digging deep into the secrets behind these amazing gardens, uncovering the wisdom behind their success, and showing how you can use some of these same tricks in your own backyard to grow more with less. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like, and tap the bell so you never miss out on content that helps you live smarter and simpler, just like the Amish. The foundation: rich, healthy soil. The first and most important secret to Amish gardening is the soil. Amish families don't just dig a hole and throw in some seeds. They treat their soil like gold. Each year, they rotate crops to make sure the soil doesn't get tired. This means they don't plant the same vegetable in the same spot every year. Instead, they move things around so that the nutrients stay balanced. They also add compost made from kitchen scraps, manure from their livestock, and leaves they gather from around the farm. This homemade compost is full of life, worms, microbes, and natural nutrients. Unlike chemical fertilizers that give plants a quick burst and then fade, Amish compost keeps feeding the soil long term. Over the years, their soil becomes dark, crumbly, and full of organic matter. That's why their plants grow so strong. And they don't till their soil aggressively like many modern gardeners. Instead, they use light hand tools to gently aerate the top layer, keeping the living organisms in the soil healthy. This method prevents erosion and allows water to soak in deeply, feeding the roots instead of running off. They also believe in letting the soil rest. After intense planting seasons, they leave some beds fallow, meaning they don't plant in them for a time. This gives the earth a break, and natural processes have time to rebuild fertility. In some areas, they plant cover crops like clover or rye to fix nitrogen and add biomass. These cover crops are later cut and left to decompose right into the soil, adding even more nutrients. The Amish also observe their soil closely. They check for signs of compacting, monitor drainage, and feel the texture to decide what it needs. If it feels dry and dusty, they know it's time to add organic matter. If it's too wet and sticky, they increase aeration and drainage. Their hands are their best tools, and they work with the earth, not against it. Simple tools, smarter hands. You won't find power tools or fancy machines in an Amish garden. What you will find are strong hands, simple tools, and lots of knowledge. The Amish believe that working the land by hand gives them more control and a better feel for what's happening. They use hoes, rakes, wheelbarrows, and old-fashioned seed spreaders. These may seem old school, but they're incredibly effective. By avoiding machines, they don't disturb the soil as much. They also use less fuel, produce no noise, and can garden quietly, even in the early morning hours. Their hands-on approach means they notice problems faster, like pests, diseases, or weeds, and fix them before they spread. They also take the time to prune plants by hand, making sure air can flow between leaves, which reduces disease. Everything is done with care. It may take more time, but the results are healthier plants and better harvests. In fact, many Amish families pass down specific hand tool techniques from generation to generation. There are particular ways to angle a hoe or how to weed without disturbing nearby roots. These aren't just chores. They're practiced skills honed over decades. Some use homemade tools crafted by blacksmiths within the community, designed specifically for certain crops or soil types. Working with simple tools also gives the Amish a deeper relationship with the land. They can feel when the soil is too dry or compacted just by how the shovel moves. They can tell when a plant is thirsty or stressed simply by its posture. This constant awareness builds a connection that machines just can't replicate. And because the tools require no electricity or gas, they can be used in any weather at any time and maintained easily. There's no waiting for repairs or buying expensive replacements. A sharp hoe and a strong back are all they need. Seed saving, a secret to resilience. Every year, most gardeners go out and buy new seeds. Not the Amish. They've been saving seeds for generations. When a plant grows especially well, they save its seeds. This means their plants slowly adapt to their local climate, soil, and pests. Over time, their seeds become stronger, more resistant, and more productive. These heirloom seeds are treasures, passed down from parent to child. They aren't genetically modified. They aren't sprayed with chemicals. They're real, natural, and tough. Seed saving also means the Amish don't rely on seed companies or supply chains. If there's a crisis, they're ready. They already have what they need. They don't panic when shelves are empty. They simply reach into their neatly labeled jars, pull out seeds from last year's harvest, and start again. It's a cycle of self-reliance and renewal. But it's more than just practical. Seed saving carries deep meaning in Amish culture. Each seed connects the past with the present. Grandparents who grew the same squash or tomatoes decades ago are still part of today's meals. It's a way of honoring tradition, family, and stewardship. Often, they'll trade seeds within the community, sharing stories and advice along with them. Plus, saving seeds saves money. It's one less thing to buy each spring, and it keeps rare varieties alive. Types of tomatoes, beans, and corn that you won't find in most stores. Many of these plants carry unique flavors, textures, and histories. Some varieties are specific to certain Amish settlements, making them deeply local and irreplaceable. In a world leaning toward uniformity, seed saving keeps diversity alive, right in the garden. It's a quiet but powerful act of resistance against the industrial food system. While others chase the next big trend in gardening, the Amish hold on to what works, what lasts, and what feeds both body and spirit, planting with the moon and nature's clock. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The Amish don't just plant based on a calendar. They plant according to the moon. That's right. Lunar gardening is a real thing. They believe certain phases of the moon are better for planting roots, while others are better for leafy vegetables. It may sound strange, but it's been used for centuries, and modern science has started to back it up. The moon affects tides, and it can affect the water in the soil too. When the moon is waxing, it's said to pull moisture toward the surface, helping seeds swell and germinate. When it's waning, it's a better time for pruning or planting below-ground crops. By following this ancient rhythm, Amish gardens often sprout faster and grow more evenly. Companion planting, nature helping itself. The Amish know that certain plants grow better together. This is called companion planting. For example, they plant beans next to corn. The corn gives the beans something to climb, and the beans fix nitrogen in the soil to feed the corn. It's a perfect balance of support and nourishment. They might also plant basil near tomatoes, because the scent of the basil can keep pests away. Marigolds are another favorite. They help repel nematodes and harmful insects, and their bright blooms attract pollinators. By mixing crops in the same bed, they reduce the chances of diseases spreading and keep bugs confused. Pests are less likely to settle when they can't find large patches of their favorite food. This natural cooperation means they need fewer pesticides and chemicals. Everything works together in harmony, like a well-balanced team. It also makes the garden more beautiful and diverse, which supports bees, butterflies, and other pollinators. The Amish also use plants like nasturtiums, which act as a trap crop. Aphids flock to nasturtiums instead of attacking vegetables. Once the nasturtiums are infested, they can simply remove them, keeping the real crop safe. Radishes are planted alongside squash to deter squash borers. Dill and cilantro are used to attract beneficial insects like ladybugs and lacewings that feed on destructive pests. They even think about root depth, pairing shallow-rooted plants with deep-rooted ones, so they're not competing for the same nutrients or water. It's not just about planting what works together above ground, but also below it. For the Amish, companion planting is both science and tradition. Passed down through generations, these planting strategies help ensure healthier crops, tastier produce, and a garden that practically takes care of itself. It's a living example of how nature, when respected and understood, becomes the gardener's greatest ally. Mulching, the natural blanket. If you walk into an Amish garden, you'll probably notice that you don't see much bare soil. That's because they use mulch everywhere. Straw, leaves, grass clippings, it's all spread around their plants. This mulch keeps moisture in the ground, blocks weeds from growing, and slowly breaks down to feed the soil. It's like giving the garden a protective blanket. In summer, mulch keeps the soil cool. In winter, it helps insulate the roots. And since it's made from natural materials they already have on the farm, it costs nothing. This small step saves them hours of weeding and watering. But mulching goes beyond just saving time. It plays a crucial role in protecting the soil structure. When rain hits bare soil, it can cause compaction or erosion, washing away precious topsoil and nutrients. Mulch cushions the impact of rain, keeping the soil loose and rich. It also creates the perfect habitat for earthworms and beneficial microbes, which break down organic matter and improve soil fertility. Amish gardeners are careful about what kind of mulch they use for different plants. For example, straw works well for vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers because it doesn't mat down and allows water to pass through easily. On the other hand, wood chips might be used around fruit trees, slowly enriching the soil over time. They also rotate and renew mulch layers as needed, never letting it become a soggy mess or a hiding place for slugs. By constantly observing their gardens and adjusting their approach, they ensure the mulch always helps rather than hinders. To the Amish, mulch isn't just a gardening tip. It's a foundational part of how they work with nature, not against it. Pest control. Without chemicals, you might be wondering if they don't use sprays, how do the Amish deal with bugs? The answer is smart prevention. First, their soil is so healthy that plants grow strong. Strong plants can resist pests better. Second, they use row covers, light fabrics that protect young plants from bugs while still letting in sun and rain. They also use natural traps, like bowls of vinegar to catch fruit flies, or soap sprays made from simple ingredients. And because they're in the garden every day, they notice pests early and can remove them by hand before they become a problem. Sometimes, they even plant sacrificial crops, plants that bugs love more than the real crop. For example, they might grow radishes near cucumbers, knowing the bugs will choose the radishes instead. It's clever and it works. Another trick they use is planting herbs and flowers like marigolds, garlic, and chives that naturally repel pests. These plants give off strong smells that confuse or drive away harmful insects. They also attract beneficial insects like ladybugs and lacewings, which eat the bad bugs before they can cause damage. Chickens, ducks, and guinea fowl sometimes patrol the garden edges too, gobbling up slugs and beetles. Altogether, it's a layered defense system based on observation, nature, and experience, not chemicals. Watering, slow, deep, and mindful. Instead of using sprinklers or hoses that blast water everywhere, Amish gardeners water slowly and deeply. They often collect rainwater in barrels and use it to gently soak the base of each plant. This helps the water go deep into the soil, reaching the roots where it's needed most. It also reduces evaporation and prevents mold and mildew on the leaves. They water in the early morning or late evening when the sun isn't too hot. This saves water and keeps the plants from getting scorched. It's not just about the amount of water, it's about the timing and the method. The Amish understand that watering isn't a mindless task. It's a moment of care and connection. Instead of walking through the garden quickly with a hose, they use watering cans or gravity-fed drip systems that give them better control. This way, every plant gets exactly what it needs. No more, no less. Overwatering can lead to root rot, while underwatering can stress the plant. Amish gardeners avoid both by paying close attention to the soil. If it feels dry 2 inches below the surface, it's time to water. If it's still moist, they wait. Mulch plays a big role here too. It holds in the moisture for longer, meaning they don't have to water as often. That's another reason Amish gardens thrive even during dry spells. In drought-prone seasons, some Amish even reuse household water, called gray water, from washing produce or rinsing dishes, so long as it's free from harsh chemicals. This sustainable habit not only conserves water, but teaches the value of every drop. To the Amish, watering is more than hydration, it's stewardship. Each drop is guided with care, ensuring plants grow strong, healthy, and resilient. A family effort, teaching from one generation to the next. One thing that makes Amish gardens truly special is that they're a family affair. Kids grow up learning how to plant, water, and harvest. They learn patience, responsibility, and respect for nature. Grandparents share old techniques. Parents teach by example. Everyone works together, and every task becomes a shared experience. This constant learning and cooperation build a deep connection to the land. It's not just about food, it's about tradition, self-reliance, and gratitude. That's something you can't buy at any garden center. From the time they can walk, Amish children are out in the fields with their families. They start with simple tasks, carrying a watering can, dropping seeds into rows, picking a few weeds. But these little jobs build confidence and knowledge. As they grow older, they take on more responsibility. By the time they're teens, many can manage an entire garden plot on their own. And it's not just technical skills they're learning. They're learning to observe, how to read the sky for signs of rain, how to feel when the soil is ready, how to recognize the difference between a healthy leaf and a sick one. These skills aren't taught from a book. They're passed down through stories, experience, and countless hours side by side in the garden. Elders play a vital role. They offer wisdom that comes only from decades of trial and error. Maybe it's a trick for keeping squash bugs away, or an old planting rhyme that tells when to sow certain crops. These bits of knowledge might seem small, but they are the glue that binds generations together. Gardening becomes more than a chore. It's a rhythm of life. It shapes values. It teaches kids to work hard, wait patiently, and care deeply. They learn that food doesn't come from a store. It comes from sweat, soil, and faith. There's a quiet pride in that. For Amish families, the garden is a classroom, a bonding place, and a lifeline. It's where laughter happens, where lessons are learned, and where memories are made. The garden feeds the body, yes, but more than that, it feeds the soul. You don't have to live on a farm or give up electricity to grow like the Amish. Start small. Improve your soil with compost. Try saving a few seeds. Plant some companion crops. Use mulch and water smart. The more you observe your garden, the more you'll understand what it needs. The Amish show us that gardening doesn't need to be complicated or expensive. With patience, care, and a little wisdom from the past, you can grow more food with less effort and feel more connected to your land than ever before. Even if you live in an apartment or urban neighborhood, there are ways to bring this approach into your life. Container gardening, vertical planters, and even windowsill herbs can give you a taste of independence. A few pots on a balcony or a backyard corner transformed into a veggie bed can be the start of something truly rewarding. Each season brings lessons. Maybe you'll learn how to make compost from your kitchen scraps or build a simple rain barrel system. Maybe you'll notice how bees and butterflies return when you skip pesticides. Every little step gets you closer to a lifestyle that's more grounded, more peaceful, and more sustainable. And just like the Amish pass down their knowledge through generations, you can share your journey too with your children, your friends, your neighbors. Gardening can be a ripple effect. What starts with a single tomato plant could inspire a whole block to dig in. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to start. If this inspired you to start your own productive garden, give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And if you want more simple, powerful tips from the people who know nature best, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell.